So Twitch is being incredibly difficult for the time being. I do not know what that's about, but it's logged me out of literally everything. And now I can't even rejoin. That's the best part, is I can't actually rejoin. So, just phenomenal stuff happening here is what it is. Let me get the stream up and going, because honestly, at this point, I don't understand. Listen, I don't really get why people use Twitch as much as they do. I think it is the most finicky, most, like, disturbingly awful streaming platform. It really is. However, for whatever reason, that's just the popular live streaming place. I don't get it, really. I don't. But I'm not here to talk about Twitch and its several issues that it has. I'm here to talk about the CCRL Wednesday tier, as we are at the Barcelona circuit. Should be a fun one. Go ahead and drop your race predictions if you're into that sort of thing. If not, well then, don't. That's okay. Wonder how last week went. I wasn't here. Hang on. Oh, I gotta scan an app to get my Discord going. Or I gotta scan the, something. Scan. Oh, here we go. Scan QR code. Fantastic. Okay, so now I don't have to worry about being on Discord on my actual thing. I can just have our data pulled up as we need it, which is fantastic. Even Discord, for what it's worth, like, it has its issues from time to time. Who's Michael Schumacher and why has it yelled at me? The Michael Schumacher bot has yelled at me. Shall we read this? Ah, noble companions, it appears that a gathering of great significance is occurring in the realm of live broadcast. I implore you all to partake in this momentous occasion, for much like a grand feast featuring the finest of tacos, filled with succulent meats, vibrant vegetables, and zesty salsa. What does that mean? I don't think zesty in that. Never mind. Zesty means something different than it used to. Such events nourish the spirits and invigorate the mind. Engage in the festivities, for who knows what wisdom or mirth, that cannot be a word, mirth may be shared in this lively exchange. Michael Schumacher bot is saying fake words. There's no way that MIRTH is a word. This is not possible. Mirth. Wow, it actually is. Amusement, especially as expressed in laughter. This is the sentence they give us. His 6-foot frame shook with mirth. Just making shit up now, anyway. How's everybody doing tonight? Should be a fun one, this from Spain. I think we have at least 8 drivers. Well, six more should be checked in as far as I am to remember. Let me just look at the check-in. Oh, needs one. Here we go, check-in. So, 18 total checked in. 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, 1 Mercedes, 2 Aston Martins, 1 Alpine, 2 Saubers, 2 Haas, 2 Racing Bulls. So, yeah, we're just missing a Merc, and we're missing a Alpine. Oh, and 2 Williams as well. So, should have a good grid this. I don't know about you guys, but I actually have quite a fond enjoyment of this Barcelona circuit. I think it's misunderstood, quite frankly, a lot of the times. I really do. Okay, so YouTube has this mini player, which is nice, but the mini player doesn't, at least on PC, the mini player doesn't actually let you go into other realms of internet exploring. I think I would need to just open another tab, honestly, which I'm not too thrilled about doing, but if we must. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Make sure to drop your race predictions tonight. Should be a fun one, I would think. I think it's going to be one of those races that we... Let's storage device Macintosh is almost full. Well, it's too bad I didn't ask. The amount of times I've had to, like, clean out my iMovie and just start everything over again because iMovie just doesn't exist. I know, iMovie is some, like, not necessarily cardinal sin to use, but, like, I'm not paying 60 some odd bucks or however much it is for Adobe. I'm just really not. So, yeah. Spain, Catalonia. There's the circuit map right there. We need to minimize this somehow because that's going to do just wonders. Voice chat suspended. Oh no, anything but that. Okay, so I have like a triple monitor setup going right now. But it's like not actually, it's just my laptop has 3 different windows open. I tell you what, man, listen, I like my laptop. I think it's a piece of actual garbage, and I'm a little surprised it hasn't exploded yet, to be honest with you, because I do so much, like, stuff with it. So, you know, like, Apple has exceeded my expectations for now. I doubt that's going to happen, like, ever again. But, you know, that's alright, innit? Is there any way I can make this a third of a screen here, just on account of I want my... Actually, that almost looks pretty good, to tell you the truth, having 3 things like this. 3 separate Safari windows open at the same go. Race in the middle. Let's see, race in the middle of the screen. Track map on the... Or I'll have track map on the near side, and I'll have the Discord on the far side. Okay, doesn't want me to shrink in that window anymore. And I'm not actually sure I'm going to be able to get a third window here, but, you know. I think I'm just going to have to expand and call that good. Once again, how's everybody doing? Should be a fun race, this. From, I wouldn't even call this one of my favorite tracks, but it's one of those tracks that does put together some just phenomenal results from time to time. You know, I think normally we look at a track like this and we kind of expect it to, at least in real life, doesn't always give us the good results, but looks like we're going to get ready to go here shortly, so that should be all in fun. Got ourselves a good old-fashioned Michelob Ultra for this one. You know what really upsets me, though, is this bottle of Michelob. It's very good. However, I am inclined to believe, for no apparent reason, that if your beer has a twisty lid on it, it's automatically going to suck. And, like, I like Michelob, so that doesn't seem right to me, but that's almost exactly what I feel. It's like that's half the fun of drinking a beer, is cracking open the top, no? I wanna make something expressly clear as well. I'm not an alcoholic by any means. Doing these broadcasts is literally the only time of the week I drink. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Every time I start a stream, I'm drinking. And by drinking, I mean I have 1 bottle of beer with me. Like, it's not that big a deal. I'm not a drunk, I promise. You know, it feels like that's the thing every single time that I start a stream is like, oh, what drink have I got today? Well, today's a Michelob Ultra. And it's my first beer of the week. So, do with that information as you will, but if it gives me charisma and curbs the autism, then we're good to go. Let's see who we've got on tap tonight. I want to look at the driver standings and the results. I didn't actually see last week's race. What does Johnny Damon tell us? Johnny Damon's pinging the stream. Very good, thank you. Good rip, thank you. Looking at the standings coming into tonight's Grand Prix. After Miami, which apparently was not the last round that we did, but that's the last one I saw. Is it updated, actually? Yeah, it is. Saudi Arabia, okay. We had Jeddah last time. Cam Tissot leads the standings by 16 points over that of Reimer in second. Johnny Damon third, 17 points behind. That's behind the leader of Cam Tissot, yeah. Johnny Damon at 69 points, that's pretty nice for him. Curveball 66, Charlie Golf 63, Jabor 61. John the Prince 54, Sepulveda 45, King Pro 42, Serzal 37. So it's a fairly competitive driver standings for the time being, as the constructor standings are concerned, if we look at it this way. The Haas team in the lead at 130 points. Second place is the McLarens at 31. The Astons in third. The McLarens in second, behind by 31. Requesting that you scroll to the ends of the results page after quality and the race, please. Thank you. Okay, note taken. Fantastic, I can do that. The McLarens in second at 99 points, Aston at 94, with the Willys at 86. Close one there with the Ferrari at 85. Similarly to the Visa Cash App Racing Bull F1 team at 76, and then the Alpines at 70. Sauber's at 60, Red Bull 54, Mercedes 37. So realistically, it seems, and I don't say this to be mean to the Mercedes, to Rocket Man, but it does genuinely appear like they might be the only team out of it for the time being. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of unfortunate to say, because it kind of sounds douchey, but that's just not true. You know, they only got 37 points in the thing. So, anyway, looks like we're almost going to get ready to go here. Thank you all for joining, those of you that have. Should be a phenomenal race tonight. I do enjoy Spain as a circuit. I think it's very misunderstood, and for what it's worth, I am quite glad that this is going to be kept on the schedule in 2026, along with Madrid. It's actually gone and replaced Imola, as I understand. If I do have that right, it's replaced Imola, 2 different points of the year, but Spain will have 2 Grand Prix next season with Barcelona and Madrid. Let me just look at that 2026 F1 calendar. Hey, what a season though it's been so far. It's a shame that I had to miss Jeddah last time out, but we had a great race in Miami. We've had some really fun ones to begin this season. So yeah, so Barcelona will be June 12th through 14th, and then Madrid will be September 11th through 13th. So 2 Spanish Grand Prix next season, no Imola. I know people aren't happy that Imola has left the calendar. I understand where they're coming from, but for what it's worth, it has not produced, I don't think, really good enough racing to be kept. But then again, simultaneously, neither has Suzuka, nor the Hungaroring, nor Monaco for that instance. So, anyway. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the CCRL Wednesday tier. Season 8, this is round number 5 here at the Circuit Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. The track that everybody thought was going to be replaced by Madrid, and as it turns out, will not be replaced by Madrid, and thank you for that, because this is definitely a fun circuit. 14 corners make up this 4.6 kilometer circuit. Remember, it's had the recent reconfigurations in years. It's taken out that chicane, and it's kind of done away with the sharp left-handed corner going down the second DRS straight over the crest of the hill after turn 9, which I actually thought was a good corner for the circuit. You actually kind of got some overtaking done there. Now with the turn 10 being kind of a loopy, left-handed corner, it doesn't really have the same effects with DRS after it. So, and for what it's worth as well, this is going to be a hot take. I liked that chicane at the end of the lap for Spain. That was like one final go through the corner. If you get it right, you've got a good lap. If you don't, your whole lap's out the window. I thought that was actually a really neat part of it. And it's pissing it down here in Barcelona. Fantastic! This is... I don't know if we're going to have rain for the race session, but what I do know is this. We've got at least potential some drivers, in fact all of them for the time being, have the full wets selected. I don't know if that's going to stay. Albeit the pit lane does look quite wet, but it doesn't look like it's puddling for the time being. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now, this is always an interesting thing when you get a wet qualifying session, as we're going to see the McLaren of Sepulveda. Looks like it's going to be the first out of the garage here. Now, I'll go through what I'm talking about here in a second. Sepulveda, I have not gotten the weather report in yet from Mr. Johnny Damon. If anybody knows otherwise, they should please let me know, because for this time being, all I know is that it's raining right now. Let's see. Nope, I haven't been told that it's going to be raining otherwise than right now. So, dry races ayahuasca, thank you very much. So that brings up a very interesting point when we get to the qualifying session like this. A lot of drivers now will put on probably... It becomes an interesting conversation of what you sacrifice. Do you sacrifice your speed in the qualifying session in the full wet to put on a more conservative setup that'll get you farther up the grid in quali, and then get into race and be it kind of heavier on downforce, you know, that may be easier to control but overall slower? Or do you put your race trim on, your standard dry race trim, and kind of try to do your best here in the wet and hope that you're actually able to hold on to the car and get you a good spot on the grid enough to be still competitive in the race, but to also not bottle it here in quality? That's got to be the big question here. Because, you know, I mean, there is a lot of differences in the setup that you will have. The suspension will be softer, the anti-roll bars may be different, the front wings may be different, tire pressure may be different, all these things that, you know, you can't necessarily adjust via Parc Ferme once you go into the dry race session. It's definitely an interesting way about it, as we do have Sepulveda. He's going to be our first driver on a timed lap. Now, this is interesting here, what I'm seeing. Not a lot of cars are actually flocking to the track at the moment. The clock is ticking, and we've only got 4 cars out there, so that tells me one of two things. Number one, a lot of these guys are still deciding what to do. Or number two, this qualifying session could get dry by the end of it, and these guys are really trying to weather the storm here, when instead we got guys like Sepulveda, the Sauber of Serzol, the Aston of Charlie Golf, and I believe the Haas of Johnny Damon, all trying to put together laps now. First lap of the Grand Prix qualifying session will be Sepulveda, down the pit straight, one of the longest in F1. I love this first combination of corners here going into the race. It's so fast, so flowy, always carnage, always overtaking, even in the race. I mean, it is just a phenomenal section of corner, this. Back out on throttle, exiting turn 2. It's difficult in the dry, at least in this new generation of game. This third corner, every time I've taken it, has been flat out. You could see Sepulveda struggling to put the power down into turn 4, which sometimes you can see overtakes made here, especially if you get a bad run. What is going on here with Sepulveda? That car is all over the place except for straight. Sometimes you can get a bad run at a turn 3, and then you can end up side by side with a guy heading into that fourth corner, and then it actually becomes a good battle through there. Nico Rosberg will tell you all about that one, won't he? Down the hill in towards 7 and 8. Difficult one, this, with the curbs. That orange curb on the inside, if you bottom out over that, your car will be sent a spinning, and you really don't want that, because that is surely a DNF from that position. There's really hardly any runoff. Over the crest of the hill, exiting turn 9, down the back straight, heading in towards turn 10, which I said I already wasn't necessarily a fan of how they reconfigured this. It really takes away from what was an overtaking opportunity there into the braking zone. At least sometimes you saw that happen. You know, the transition through, what was 11 and 12 before, it was kind of off camber, kind of gross, really. It was just a very sharp incline, and then suddenly it was flat out. You really lost the rear quite easily, and now it doesn't have that. It's kind of a bland beginning to the sector, and as a matter of fact, I think this third sector really is bland in itself. Nothing really happens. Sepulveda 132, 399, that's not a bad first attempt. I think that car was all over the place realistically, and Serzol has immediately done better, 129, 872, for what I believe is probably our first real representative timed lap of the session. Coming around the line now is going to be Johnny Damon. Sorry, that's not Johnny Damon. Well, this is. And Johnny Damon, I believe, has actually since gone into the pit lane and has now fit the set of intermediate tires. You can start to see the dry line being formed with all the water that's been evacuated from the full wet tires that these guys have tried. As we look at what tire each driver is on. Now, the top two, the only 2 times on track are on full wets. Damon, Fragley, Agnote, Owa, Golf, Tizzle, Reimer, and Hemp have all decided to go for the intermediate tires. A lot of the others on track are not quite convinced yet. So this might be an interesting little diggy-do here on who's actually going to be able to put together good timed attempts. What I can tell you is this: Johnny Damon did not look any more comfortable in the intermediates than Sepulveda did whilst he was on the full wets. It very much looks very slippery. 128.748 from Charlie Golf is the fastest time. Johnny Damon goes 129 flat, which is not a bad attempt whatsoever. So it looks like, for the time being, that potentially the intermediates are the way to go. As I said before when we got into the session, it didn't look as if the circuit was wet enough for the full wets. I think it's a very interesting transition right now. It's kind of on the cusp of being too much for the intermediates. It's not quite enough for the full wets, as we're starting to see. A curveball's on a flyer here. Cam Tizzle's gone 127.902 on the intermediates in the Williams. He's gone 8.5 tenths of a second quicker than Charlie Golf. Curveball coming around the line now. One of the only two out of the three cars actually have put a time together on the wets, and he's gone 136.35. So I think right now it might just be about overall comfort on what tire, because I think Curveball right now probably isn't going to be comfortable on those intermediate tires like some of these other guys are. But simultaneously, I think Johnny Damon would not be very comfortable on the wets. So I think it is pretty much entirely up to driver preference for the time being. Fragley is within 1/10 of a second of Cam Tizzle in his Sauber, less than a 1/10 of a second. That's a great time there from Fragley. Coming around the line now, I believe, is going to be one of the Alpines. Matter of fact, the only Alpine. It's going to be that of Reimer. Let's go along with him. Multi-time CCRL Wednesday tier champion is Charlie Golf, goes 127.807. Puts about a 10th back to Cam Tizzle. They're about a 10th and 3/4 back to Fragley. Reimer got a bit of a slide on the back end going into the braking zone in towards turn 1. That may hurt him. And you can see he's really just trying to fight it. Oh, big slip there. I tell you what, when you're on the edge like that as a driver, that is not a very comfortable place to be. And for what it's worth, Reimer is a very talented driver that, I've had the pleasure of commentating on for probably the better part of a year now. And let me tell you something, this guy is on the edge pretty much always of comfortable versus uncomfortable, and usually when that sort of thing happens, there's a chemical reaction and it creates a good lap time. So in towards turns 7 and 8 now, up the hill. You can still see it's still a bit laborious to try to get on the throttle going up through the hill like that. It's not a comfortable transition at all. Yellow flag going down the pit straight. I don't know who that's for, but it looks like a Red Bull potentially has gone off. That's going to be Agnote. I think maybe potentially as he had a slide somewhere along the line. I could be wrong. Even going up the hill through Sector 3, that car does not look steady. He's trying so hard to be able to correctly put the power down on the curb. You got to be careful there. That curve will send that car spinning. Oh, he's only just held it there as well, and across the line, 127. Well, it's immediately beat out then by Charlie Golf. 127.297. Reimer's time was good, but is now behind by 3.5 tenths back to Charlie Golf. And what I will say is this track does appear to be ramping up quite quickly. We kind of figured this was going to be the case. I think the majority of drivers really waited about 5 minutes into the session to really, about 3 to 5 minutes into the session to actually start putting times on the board. And as you can see, a lot of them, I think, still really don't have representative times in. I would assume King Pro Player is going to be quicker, Serzal's going to be quicker. Curveball Sepulveda, I think, are all going to be doing quicker here. And especially now considering it appears the circuit is ripe for the inters as Cam Tizzle 126.550. New fastest lap there, and what a lap it is. He's got Charlie Golf by 7 3/4 tenths of a second there. That is a massive lap from Cam Tizzle. And with 9 minutes to go, I'll tell you what, it is still raining. How long will it rain for? Will this rain continue towards the end of the session? Because right now, again, you can see it is not puddling up on the circuit. It's not even coating the racing line, as you can see. A bit of a slide there for Cam Tizzle. He's not on the timer anyway, isn't he? Charlie Golf, half a second, did that say? Quicker? Nah, it's into the pit lane anyway. Got a McLaren coming around the line now. I believe that's going to be Ayahuasca, and he's gone second, 127.179. Still back by 6.5 tenths of a second, as Reimer's actually just gone P2, having just crossed the line. He's about 4.5 tenths off of Cam Tizzle's time. That was Johnny Damon crossing the line. He's now got himself still about a second behind, but not bad. Coming around the line next, I believe we have one of the Red Bulls. It looks like it's going to be Agnote. On what looks like is going to be his first somewhat representative time lapse. You can tell he does have a time on the board, but it's 14.5 seconds down. And you can tell that car is super struggling at the moment. You could just see visibly. Exiting the final corner and across the line, and he does get up to 14th, 133.659. The Asian kid, sorry, I say the Asian kid, that is just his name. Asian kid has gone 15th, still about 10, 11 seconds behind. Seeing a lot of disparity in the times right now, varying degrees of comfort amongst the drivers that we do have on track. It'll be interesting to see how this sort of thing continues on. Well, we have a minute. Let's look at the upcoming schedule that we've got for you. A couple of good races on the way. Tonight, obviously, round 5 in Spain. Next time out, August 13th. We head to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, however, in the reverse direction. 1:26.242 for Reimer, new fastest lap. That is something I'm looking forward to quite a lot. I think those first couple of corners of the Red Bull Ring in reverse could very well prove to be a fun lap. 1:27.375 for Johnny Damon, improves by about 0.3 of a second. I will say this. I did commentate a league race, a different league race at Silverstone, in the reverse direction, and it didn't exactly blow me away. It was a good race, but it was just kind of weird. Like, they actually, believe it or not, they had put DRS out of Copse Corner heading backwards into Brooklands and Luffield, believe it or not. And they actually took DRS out going down the Wellington Straight in towards what I believe would be the loop in Aintree at that point. They actually took that section of DRS out and replaced it exiting Copse Corner, which was really weird. I didn't think that helped overtaking very much at all. As I don't know if Damon's trying to get off the circuit here or struggling. Either one. Ayahuasca, I don't know if he's on a flyer at the moment. I don't believe that he is. Let's open his telemetry and find out. Probably not. Well, we'll wait and see. You know, let's see what the split comes up to as he makes his way down the straight here. 6 minutes remaining in the session. And yeah, oh yeah, he's well slower. Never mind then. But anyway, so yeah, the Red Bull Ring in reverse for round 6. Next time out, August 13th. That should be a very fun race. I'm really looking forward to these races on the reverse circuits. I think, you know, have these go well. Potentially we get a couple of more reverse circuits in. I've already got a short list of ones I'd like to see in the reverse direction. Brazil being one of them. I think Bahrain would also be pretty good. Then we go to round number 7, August 20th. We head to Silverstone in the correct direction. Mind you, for round 7, this is past the halfway point. Baku, Hungary, reverse Netherlands, that should be fun. Singapore, and then Brazil to round out this 8th season of the CCRL Wednesday tier. It's been a phenomenal season so far, and I cannot wait to see the second half. I think it's really going to be something to watch, that's for sure. Ayahuasca now on the flyer. He's got purple sector 1, 10th and a half quicker. As he drifts a little wide through turn 4 there. That didn't look like the cleanest go through the corner. 5 minutes remaining now. Down in towards turn 5. And yeah, you can tell the car's a little bit... Oh, getting back on throttle there, riding the curb. I tell you what, great car control from him. That was definitely a sketchy go of it there from Ayahuasca. Goes a little bit wide there through 7, up through 8. Maybe a little tentative, honestly. Over the crest of the hill through 9. Uses a lot of curb on the inside and then the outside as well. I figured I'd be seeing a car get a lot more unsettled going over those curb than that. 0.3 of a second quicker. However, going through Sector 2, this is looking a good lap here from Ayahuasca if he can hold it together. And he is just fighting that car tooth and nail, trying to really just send it round the corners as much as he possibly can. And I tell you what, it's an inspired drive so far from Ayahuasca, and if this comes out to be a good lap, he's absolutely earned it. Just the final corner now. To the inside, back on the throttle. Could have maybe taken that one a little bit faster, I'll admit. But across the line, 1:26.111. That's a phenomenal lap from Ayahuasca. And he's got a 10th and a half back to Reimer. Great time there from the McLaren. Fantastic stuff. Coming around the line now is actually going to be his teammate Sepulveda. He's beginning a new one. As it does appear that we have a list of drivers actually entering timed laps now. This is the Ferrari of Hemphead. It appears he's actually got some front wing damage. And quite a lot of it as well on the right side. I wonder what he's hit. Well, he'll be into the pit lane here shortly. King Pro Player is potentially starting one here. He's gone 4th. He's been quite sneaky. Haven't really mentioned him to this point so far. I'm not entirely sure if this is a flyer from him when he's gone wide, so maybe not. Let's see what his split time comes up to here. No, he is slower. But King Pro Player currently 4th. Half a second behind. It's actually quite close between himself and Fragley. Fragley down by an even 0.6. 5/100ths of a second between the Visa Cash App Racing Bull F1 team driver and then the Stake F1 team Pick Sauber driver in 5th. I can't wait for that team to just be called Audi next year. Charlie Golf going up the hill through turn 9. This, I believe, looks like a flyer here from Charlie Golf. 2 minutes 45 roughly remaining in the session. As down the back straight and heading in towards the 10th corner. 7.5 tenths quicker through Sector 2. That's a phenomenal time. And I tell you what, it's still got a little bit left in the lap. Let's see what happens. We're on the final stages of the lap now. Out of the final corner. Car looked a little sluggish through there, but not too bad. And across the line, second, 1:26.239, improves by a clean second and is ahead of Reimer by a total of 3 1/1000ths of a second. And not only mention that, a 10.5 between the top three with 2 minutes 5 remaining in the session. This is shaping up to be a good one here. King Pro Player, I believe this is a flyer from him, potentially. No guarantees, but let's find out. Exiting turn 3, going up the hill towards turn 4, and into the corner. Oh, he's slower by 2/10 actually through Sector 1. Let's see if that might be too much to come back from. I think he's going to have to abandon this lap and hope he's got enough fuel. You're just not really going to make up 2/10 of a second that easily in these conditions. That's a really unfortunate start to the lap. Rocketman has just crossed the line. I believe that is 8.5 tenths quicker than his previous best. That's a good lap there. We got a Ferrari off towards the chicane there, what used to be. Curveball coming around the final stages of the lap now, exiting the final corner. I tell you what, that car looked absolutely hooked up there through the final stages of the lap, and he is slower, but this is going to be the flyer here from Curveball, and I tell you what, it looks like he might have something here. It's going to be difficult to tell. Let's see how he handles these first couple of corners. 1 minute remaining. A lot of curve on the inside. Doesn't touch it through 2. Tell you what, that car, I was going to say, looked pretty stable, got on the throttle, and he's lucky he caught it. Charlie Golf now fastest, 1:25.746. Goes quicker than Reimer. Sorry, that was Ayahuasca now in third by 3.5 tenths as King Pro Player, as about a tenth better than Ayahuasca. Good time from King Pro Player, but he's not going to have enough, I don't think, to be able to start a new one. Ayahuasca slower by a tenth in Sector 1. Not gone phenomenally for him. Curveball, however, making his way into Sector 2 now, going up the hill through 7 and 8. Aston moves to the inside, over the crest of Turn 9. This car looks pretty good for the time being, very solid. Is he going to stay in it? Oh, apparently he will. Okay, Asian kid's retired on track behind. He's actually slower now by 2/10 of a second. And I tell you what, that's so unfortunate for Curveball. That looked absolutely hooked up there on that lap. Coming around the line now, that's Serzal beginning his, and he does actually somehow manage to get enough time to begin the lap. Reimer has crossed the line 4th. That's all he can manage. Owa is 14th. We've got the Ferrari now of Curveball coming around the final stages. He will not be improving here. Slower by only a tenth, but still slower. Got the Red Bull of Agnote coming up next. That's the McLaren of Ayahuasca out of the final corner. Could it be a charge here for Ayahuasca? Oh, he is quicker, but only just. It's not going to be enough. 1:26.043. It's not going to be an improvement. Golf into the pit lane. King Pro Player through the final stages now, but I don't think he's going to be quicker here. Across the line, King Pro Player does not improve. Is slower by quite a lot, actually. Coming through the next phase of the lap now, that looks like it could be it, unless... No, it doesn't appear Merck is going to have anything, unless does Cam Tizzle play spoiler here, and Fragley not all that far behind. Fragley is the last car on track, I believe, with a true timed lap attempt going. Cam Tizzle across the line will improve to 4th, 1:26.140. Fragley up next, and then following him is the Haas of Jabor. But Fragley coming across the line now. This could be good here for the Sauber. And it is good, but it's only good enough for P6, 1:26.255. I tell you what, from initial sightings, it looked like that was going to be a better lap. Jabor crossed the line now, 11th for him. Serzal will be the final driver on track with a timed attempt to his name. Let's see what it gets him. Bit of slippage coming out of the corner on throttle across the line for him. He does improve, but it will be only 10th. Charlie Golf will be on pole. King Pro Player 2nd, Ayahuasca 3rd, 3/10 of a second separate the top 3. And once again, we still really have no idea what this race is going to shape up to be, especially in the dry, considering going from a dry to wet session. Top 3, Golf Player and Ayahuasca. Cam Tizzle 4th, Reimer 5th, Fragley, Damon, Curveball, Merck, Serzal. It's a bit of a down one for the Saubers this week. They've been good in recent races. Jabor, Rocketman, Sepulveda, Owa, Asian Kid, Agnote, and Hemphead round out the grid here. I'll give Bong it a second. We've gone the wrong way. quickly scroll back up. Bong it, take your screenshot. Fantastic. So, what a qualifying session that was. Let's be real. I tell you what, we had some drama there towards the end. And who is Eric Wisdom? Oh, Asian Kid has said that his steering wheel has fallen out of sync. Jabor saying that it was very difficult and asking how people drive in the wet. Tell you what, that's a good question, because I haven't quite done that myself, figured it out. I've really tried to take it upon myself to go with as little assists as I possibly can in this new generation of game. Traction control has gotten more difficult since the recent games. Braking, I still cannot figure out, I'll be honest with you. ABS has to be kept on. I don't know what it is. The football's left me, honestly. And then finally, actually what I think was the easiest to learn was actually taking racing line off. I think that is such a beneficial thing to have racing line off, and I think realistically more leagues should consider doing that. It is really, and you know what's good about having the racing line off specifically is that you actually get a lot of creativity, visibly as well, creativity on how the drivers actually tame the circuit. I was casting a no line race at Spa not too long ago. And it has to be said, it was a phenomenal look at the drivers actually experiment with new lines, and actually try to judge braking zones and make overtakes happen, safely, sure, but also as well willing to throw out the risks because they felt more confident with actually how they did. So tonight in Spain, we got a good grid of drivers here. And I tell you what, very competitive even amongst the wet. But now that we're in the dry, and DRS will be activated, get some overtaken, I think this first lap is going to be phenomenal here. Have to wait and see. Just waiting for our ready up from our host. I'd go ahead and drop your score predictions, race predictions now. I feel like realistically, there's obviously going to be favorites, but I don't think there's an outright correct answer on who could win this one here tonight. I think this is going to be an increasingly fun race here. And I can't wait to find out. As the Milwaukee Brewers, apparently the first team to 70 wins. Just when the Blue Jays, I thought they were getting hot, and then they got less hot. Happens. Tell you what, though, I'm here to see a Brewers World Series run. I am. Just like I was here to see Sunderland get promoted up to the Premier League last season. Honestly. However, I will say the Blue Jays, 20-1 victory over the Colorado Rockies. Fantastic stuff. You just love to see it. It's a shame for the Rockies because I tell you what, they are like. It's a really odd. It's really odd, honestly, because I don't mind the Colorado Rockies. I really don't. I like them for whatever reason. They got character. They're bad. They're just actually terrible. But they have so much character, and that doesn't happen with baseball teams anymore, Once again, just waiting for our lobby host to give the all good to go, and we can get this show on the road. Once again, we had the wet qualifying session. Now we have the dry race, and fully dry throughout. And another thing, what's really interesting, when you get a differential in weather between one session to the other, and this does also work the same way. as the light's coming on here for the formation lap. This does also work the same way, dry quality to wet race, as it does wet quality to dry race. These drivers, realistically, are going to have to learn the circuit all over again, realistically. I would assume a lot of them, at least our top maybe 10, drive without assists, okay? I don't know if any of them drive without racing line. I don't know any of that. I would assume maybe Reimer does, but I could be wrong. These drivers will realistically have to learn so much about this racetrack again and how the car will handle. You know, honestly, for what it's worth, you got to really be doing some reconnaissance here on this formation lap. This is your first look at the circuit that's actually been dry in the session. Here's a look at the tire strategy. Only 3 drivers have decided to go hard for this evening. That being the pair of the V-Carbs actually hard. King Pro Player and Merc, as well as Rocket Man. Everybody with free choice has gone to the mediums, apart from Sepulveda, Owa, Asian Kid, and Anyote, all of which who have gone soft for this evening. It's good. Get a little bit of mix-up on the tire strategy here. You like to see that. So, the question is going to be this. Charlie Golf on the pole. King Pro Player second, assuming he'll be to the inside of Charlie Golf. Ayahuasca third. Cam Tizzle fourth. Reimer fifth. And Fragley, I would even throw into this mix as well, in sixth. Who is going to get that good launch off the line? It is quite a long run into that first corner. Charlie Golf has got to nail this start here. I'm worried personally about King Pro Player, having him starting on these hard tires. He's not going to get the grip off the launch. I think realistically, he's going to be a sitting duck here in these early proceedings. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, because he's a very talented driver. Let's not get it twisted. However, starting on the hard tires, only just having this lap here to be able to get them up to temperature. Top picks Reimer, Ayahuasca, and Cam Tizzle. I tell you what, that's I wouldn't even call that a safe bet, because you never know. But that's definitely a good look. Charlie Golf on the outside. He's got the long run to the outside of the first corner. As we look back, King Pro Player, the only driver in the top 5 on the hards. The lights turning on now. Potentially. There they go. 2, 3, 4, and eventually 5 lights. And they are off once again here in Spain. As they get off the line, it almost looks slightly snail's pace, but the Aston Martin has gotten away much better. Charlie Golf has cleared Ayahuasca, but King Pro Player, as predicted, falling behind here early. He's already down to 4th. As they fan out into the corner, Fragley to the inside. That's the other Sauber of Surzal. Really wanted to send it down to the inside, and he just couldn't quite do it. But Charlie Golf has the lead. Reimer, King Pro Player were side by side there. King Pro has dropped to 6th already in the opening proceedings here. We knew he was going to be in a bit of a position with having started on those hard tires. He has since dropped back quite a lot, actually. Top 3, Golf, Ayahuasca, Cam Tizzle, Fragley. I tell you what, Fragley's had a good start here. He's +2. Reimer has stayed stagnant in 5th. King Pro down 4. But as they make their way in through Sector 2 now, up the hill they climb. And we got a couple of close battles happening towards the back end. I'm afraid that it is just a massive jumble of cars here in the back end of the grid. A lot of these cars on the softs. Oh, look at this! To the inside, Sepulveda, as the Asian Kid had gone a little bit wide over the crest of the hill through Turn 9. Surzal has actually taken curveball into Turn 10. Bit of a bold move that. He didn't expect to see moves get made quite anymore. Apparently, according to the race, it's a 2-stop strategy. 10 to 13, 21 to 23. That's if you started on the softs. If you started on any other tire, the game doesn't really care about what we think. Down the pit straight they go, 0.3 of a second. Reimer will not have DRS here, but he will have DRS exiting Turn 9. We got a good battle going on closer towards the back. That's going to be Owa side by side, wheel to wheel with Asian Kid here. He is going to back off, unfortunately, there for Owa. I don't believe, according to him, was going to have the real estate to make that one happen. Charlie Golf leads them up the hill through Turn 3, in towards 4 now. Ayahuasca has held on quite well here at the start, up to 2nd. He's just pretty much filed in behind Charlie Golf off the start. He was filed in, as we said, on the grid behind the Aston Martin, but he is holding on quite well. Cam Tizzle the same, Fragley as well, Reimer, and King Pro Player in 6th. Now, King Pro, as you can see, is going to have to start defending here from the Sauber of Surzal. As Surzal's on those medium tires, King Pro on the hard. And King Pro, I will say, is already falling behind the top 5. Remember, he started in that 2nd position, has dropped all 4 of those. King Pro leads them exiting turn 10 as they now go up through turn 11. It looks as if the Aston Martin might at least be able to breathe for the time being, but assuming Ayahuasca gets a good launch exiting that 14th corner, it's all going to be to play for as they make their way down the pit straight into the first corner. Cam Tizzle may have a good look at this one. He may actually join the proceedings here. Down the pit straight, you can see Charlie Golf well to the inside, trying to break the toe. Ayahuasca will choose the left side. It's going to be side by side heading into the first corner until it is that of Ayahuasca, who gets around Charlie Golf, and we have a new leader of the Spanish Grand Prix. We also have a yellow flag somewhere towards the back. That appears to be the Red Bull. One of them. It's got to be Owa there. Unfortunately, I think that car. Oh, and he is missing a hell of a lot of the front wing as well. He's definitely hit something. I don't really know what he's hit. But I tell you what, it looks like he's prepping to go with the Indy 500 here, considering he's on the low downforce package now suddenly. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happened there, but unfortunately for Owa, he's now also got to do an entire lap of the circuit with that little front wing. Yikes. Oh, big slide there for Charlie Golf coming out of turn 7, and he has lost 2 positions there, potentially 3, as Reimer, goodness me, they're inside of each other at this point. Pause. I tell you what, so Reimer will get up to 4th. Charlie Golf, that car got super unsettled, getting on throttle, exiting turn 7. We talked about this in the qualifying session, how that orange little strip of curbing on the inside going up the hill, exiting 7 into 8, that will get the car unsettled, and that's exactly what it's done as Charlie Golf drops to 5th. And now that also leaves Cam Tizzle with about a second and a half to climb up to Ayahuasca. And Ayahuasca, by the way, has got the fastest lap as well, is now still continuously putting time behind. Here's Fragley. He'll try his hand to the outside, and he'll make it happen. Reimer, I thought, was actually going to have a little bit of a look there. He didn't quite have the real estate to make it happen. But now it's an outright 3-car battle here, potentially 4-car battle, actually, for the second position, as Serzal's about a second and a half behind. Charlie Golf, despite that bit of a slide, has kind of regained his composure here and still looks quite competitive in this Aston. We're assuming those tires are slightly more worn than those around him. So we have another yellow flag. That has got to be Agnote, and it looks like conundrum for both of the Red Bull drivers here, unfortunately. Ayahuasca leads by a second and a half. The real battle is for second place as Fragley leads him up the hill. Now, this is where Charlie Golf lost it on the previous occasion going up the hill. And I think, again, he just hit the curb on the inside, and that's what sent the car sliding there. Second down to P6 is within about 2 or 3 seconds of each other. It's a second and a half gap between Serzal and Curveball. Curveball's actually got a couple of cars in his immediate surroundings here, one of them being Johnny Damon. And Damon's actually lost that position off the start. I believe he started P7, and he's now fallen. Yes, he has. Ayahuasca begins the 6th lap of the Grand Prix with a almost 2-second gap over Fragley and the rest. As we have a yellow flag, Asian Kid is retired from the session, going up through turn 12. That has got to be a safety car, and I'm not actually sure where he's hit. We're on board now with Agnote coming to the scene of the crime, and I have no idea where that car could have gone off. I'm assuming, you could only just maybe faintly see it there. If you didn't see it, I only slightly did. That was what appeared to be the ghost remnants of his car off to the inside of the circuit, binned on the inside. So maybe he just lost traction coming out of 12. I don't believe he had anyone immediately around him to help him from behind there. I think that may have just been purely on his own. So now what I will say, these guys that started on the medium tires, they might get a bit of a freebie here. You know, medium, hard, soft towards the end of it. The game is pretty adamant that a 2-stop strategy takes place. Which, I mean, I'm not entirely sure if that's the meta or not. We'll have to wait and see. A couple of drivers taking stops already. Oh, of course, Agnote and Owa, both the Red Bulls, have just come in. As the safety car finds its way on track, exiting turn number 3. Ayahuasca. It'll be interesting to see what he does here if he actually decides to stop. We'll go ahead and assume that the majority of the drivers in this situation are going to take a pit stop. Let's see. Ayahuasca does decide to come in. Fragley will be next in line. He will as well. Cam Tizzle follows suit. So does Reimer, Golf, Serzal. Curveball actually stays out. That's a little bold. I think Curveball's got the pace right now to make that happen. Whether or not he has it in 15 laps time, that's going to be the question. Hard tires on for Ayahuasca. As the Sauber, I believe, still has even yet to find his pit box. It's all the way down to the end of the pit lane. Huh. Hard tires as well on for the Sauber. Cam Tizzle's gone to the hards as well. Reimer appears to have gone to an additional set of mediums, as well as King Pro Player for that matter. This is kind of interesting here. We got a good mix of drivers going from fresh set of hards to fresh mediums. So Reimer, King Pro, Sepulveda, Jabor, Hemphead, and Rocketman have all decided to take medium compound tires during this pit stop, which I kind of expected to see hards up and down the board. That's actually not been the case. Ayahuasca, Fragley, Cam Tizzle, and Golf, as well as Serzal, were the only of those to have actually taken the hards. It's about an even 50-50 split there. Two cars have stayed out on track. Curveball and Johnny Damon have both decided to play the track position game, and that might actually be quite valid here. Again, I think Curveball could have the pace to make this work. Johnny Damon, should the luck stay in his favor, I think absolutely could as well. As well, Merck has also stayed out on his set of hard tires in which he started the race on. Interesting. I tell you what, this is really... I tell you what, nowadays in these F1 games, you really don't get the tire strategy battles anymore. This is getting to be very interesting here. I'm quite chuffed to be seeing it. I really do. We'll have to wait and see. Still a lot of Grand Prix left to run here. I would definitely say Ayahuasca is probably the quickest driver on track for the time being. I think if Fragley stays within... I think as long as he keeps DRS to the McLaren, that could be eventually a battle that really goes down to strategy above all else. Because this is the thing here, right? Let's look at Ayahuasca's situation. He is, I think, again, probably outright the fastest car on track right now. He's got his immediate rivals as well behind him again, which, by the way, if you were with us for the entirety of the race so far, as soon as Ayahuasca took the lead, he immediately shot out to the lead as well, about a 2-second gap when the safety car came out. So for Fragley now, as well as I would say Cam Tizzle and maybe Reimer as well, if you can stay within DRS range of Ayahuasca, that then forces the hand of Ayahuasca to actually make the decision for everybody else. What I mean by that is this. Let's say Ayahuasca... this isn't going to happen because that's not how the strategy works. Let's say Ayahuasca was to pit on lap 15, knowing as well that Curveball, Damon, and Merck will to have pit before him. Ayahuasca then be the leader of the Grand Prix. Ayahuasca comes into the pit lane. Fragley now makes his decision based on what Ayahuasca does. He could copy, he could go long, or he could do the undercut. That is a difficult position to be as the leading car, is really testing the limits of your own tires and then trying to somehow as well get around those playing copycat off of what your strategy already is. It is a difficult game to play, it really is. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Curveball, Damon, and Merck, as we said, have stayed out during the safety car period. Curveball and Damon on the mediums, Merck on the hards in which he started the race on. The rest of the grid has stopped fairly recently. Again, it was about a 50-50 split between those who have taken mediums and those who have taken hards. Making their way out of 13 and in towards 14 at the bottom of the hill. And Curveball's going to step on the loud pedal now, and I tell you what, he's able to put about 0.2 of a second additionally back to Johnny Damon. Green flag in the air, and the Ferrari leads them down the pit straight quite handedly for the time being. About 0.3 of a second gaps up and down the board. I think Reimer may actually have a look here at Cam Tizzle. Cam Tizzle's going to block the inside, not going to allow Reimer opportunity around the outside through turn 1. He'll file back into the procession, and we do have some battles going on behind. Sepulveda's gotten around Jabor, Hemphead's gotten around Rocketman, and as they make their way in towards turn 4 now, it appears... Oh, that's a bit of a dive there from the Alpine of Reimer. He really wants the inside of Cam Tizzle, and he's got it. Reimer up to 6 now. Again, he's on those medium tires, which we thought was a bold call. That's Serzal off in turn 5. I don't know. I think maybe Serzal could have potentially been bumped there. I don't think he's missed that braking zone on his own. That is a bit of a tough look there for Serzal as he now brings up the tail end of the grid, and I think he potentially had help from behind on the way into turn 5. Not sure. As we said, though, Reimer took this safety car period, put on an additional set of medium tires, as which he started the race on. He has since put on another set. He does still have one more stop to make, as Cam Tizzle, under a lot of pressure from Sepulveda, right up against the back end of the Williams, heading through 13 and down the hill in through 14. Very close battle here, and Cam Tizzle, I tell you what, has lost a good handful of positions since the off here. 3-second penalty for Charlie Golf, first of the day. Ayahuasca well to the inside. I think tried to break the toe. Fragley around the outside. Reimer watches in behind and hopes for carnage between the two of them. And I tell you what, Fragley, he went for it. Testicular fortitude there from Fragley, and he's got it. And now Reimer potentially could try to have a look around the outside. Ayahuasca cleverly blocks the inside, having to send Reimer the long way around. Reimer's not afraid to do that sort of thing. Back on the throttle, uses every inch of the racing surface he can, and I tell you what, comes up a little short, but he is still right there on the back end of the McLaren. And even so, at the top of the grid, it's only about a half a second between the top two. But Merck leads this procession by 0.3 of a second back to Fragley, 4.5 to Ayahuasca, 3 to Reimer, 3.5 to Golf, 2.5 to King Pro, and about 6.5 back to Cam Tizzle. Into the corner, Fragley now round the outside of turn 10 on that of Merck. I tell you what, he's going for it. He's holding no prisoners here, and still side by side now through 12 and heading through 13. Fragley, give yourself a pat on the back here. You've done some wonderful stuff. But now he's got to hold it, because I'm not sure he's going to have DRS. Merck goes off the track there. Ayahuasca's going to take advantage. Correctly, the Sauber does not have DRS. Oh, but look at this. Reimer in behind. They're going to be all stacked up here heading into turn 1. Goodness me, it's almost 3 abreast behind. Reimer and Merck still side by side. Reimer's gotten around him. Charlie Golf is now going to be trying to swallow up the V-carb as well. To the inside, Merck's got the spot. So does Cam Tizzle. Charlie Golf had it, and as well as Cam Tizzle. And Merck has lost about every position in which he had initially gained. He's going to let his teammate go past as well. And now potentially even another one here to Sepulveda. Sepulveda trying it around the outside. He's going to run out of track. Jabor in position for this as well. I mean, goodness me. Merck was there, and then suddenly he wasn't. Everybody and their mother took him heading into that first section of the lap. Up the hill, exiting turn 9. Oh, and that looks like one of the Red Bulls has gone off. Yes, it is. Agnote appears to be in the gravel. It doesn't appear that he's hit anything, and the track stays green, apart from the section of track in which he's off. Ayahuasca up through the corner again. Fragley, I tell you what, he has gone for it. He's made it count, but now he's got to defend from DRS. And again, we've said Ayahuasca, I think outright the quickest car on track, but Reimer's going to have DRS here, and he's on the mediums. I think Reimer could be a big spoiler to this battle, but Ayahuasca's going to try to the inside. Reimer now is going to go for it, and Fragley will drop both positions, if assuming he doesn't hold on, and that's exactly what's happened. Fragley down from 3rd to 5th in just the span of the corner, as not having DRS down that pit straight so detrimental to the progress of the Sauber. And meanwhile, for what it's worth, the top two have etched away to a 2.5 second gap back to Ayahuasca. And again, the top two cars have yet to stop in this Grand Prix. Everybody else has. It's a combination of Ayahuasca being on those hards and as well battling with the cars behind that has resulted in this gap. But I tell you what, now that Ayahuasca's in clean air, he's immediately shaved off about 0.3 of a second to the two cars ahead. I think everything for the time being has calmed down. We're about a third of the way through this Grand Prix. Johnny Damon leads, does still have to pit, so we have a yellow flag at top of the hill. That's Hemphead, I believe. He's gone around somewhere, and he's shed a bit of the front wing on the right side. So, but now Ayahuasca is in the difficult position because he won't have DRS to the cars ahead. And Reimer's going to be the car immediately behind him. Here they go down the pit straight. Reimer follows in behind to the inside. I tell you what, he's going to blow past the McLaren here. Respectfully to Ayahuasca, Reimer was unmatched on pace there. That could open the door now for Fragley as well. Charlie Golf, despite having that 3-second penalty, he could still be a factor. Reimer's now up to 3rd. Johnny Damon has put about a second back to Curveball. Curveball has lost about... say realistically, he's lost about a second and a half back to Reimer, as it's about 2 flat between Reimer and the lead now. It was about 2.6 when Ayahuasca was atop. Again, as we know, Reimer is on those medium tires. That's what's making this really interesting, because Reimer he's going to have to stop again. You know, you have to fit at least 2 different types of tire compound in this race. Reimer started medium, is still medium, whereas everybody else has fulfilled their one stop. Rocket Man's going to get around Merck to the inside. Going up the hill through 7 is... Oh, Ayahuasca's falling behind! Yes, he is! Ayahuasca, something has happened with him the moment I look away, and that car has terribly gone down to the inside, and pit stops for curveball. Oh, goodness me, I don't know what's happened with him there, but something has gone dreadfully wrong with that McLaren. This looks to be a severely unplanned stop, as Rocket Man is retired in the pit lane. Oh, goodness me, what's happened with Ayahuasca? He must have had a terrible slide. And now finds himself in the pit lane. Absolutely unfortunate stuff there. And that is a very critical player taken out of this race, realistically. As King... Oh, that's Sepulveda into the wall now! Well, that car had lost it coming out of turn 4. A double dosage of disaster for the Papaya McLarens. But he's going to get back Jabor here, going to the inside of turn 7. Slightly unorthodox place to make a move happen. Still, I wonder what happened with Ayahuasca to send that car off the track. I didn't, again, see what had happened, and I think he really just kind of spun out of position. And he must have taken a heavy slide as well, because to have immediately come into the pit lane... That's one thing I will say about this game. If you do take a slide, you gotta have a pit stop almost immediately, because those tires are not going to be able to hold on. So I think that's what's happened there with the McLaren, realistically. Fragley's got 6/10 to the back end of Charlie Golf for the third spot. Oh, I tell you what, he was really going to get close there to Charlie Golf. He just ran out of room. Looks as if Serzal has separated Jabor and Sepulveda. Tell you what, I think realistically, on paper, this duo of the Saubers that we do have, one of the most exciting duos on track, realistically. These guys are not afraid to hang out. And it has been such a joy to watch all season, and I'm excited to see what they have in store. Fragley, as we've seen already today, has done very, I would say, risky things to be able to get ahead. But I tell you what, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, apparently you're not a racing driver, and Fragley has taken those words to heart, as he has gone for every opportunity that has been given to him. It's now only half a second between Reimer and Damon. Damon, again, is yet to stop. Reimer on the fresh mediums after having this most recent safety car, as I've said. Down the pit straight they go, and this should be a relatively easy overtake for the Alpine here. Oh, Damon's going to block the other side! Damon uses his one move and really gets, I tell you what, really, I would say impedes the progress of Reimer. That's not really a fair... Oh, and there's a lot of contact! Why, that something happened there. Hang on. Okay, so from my estimation, as I've got the stream open on my laptop, it appears that Fragley has locked up the brakes going into the corner. And as he's done that, that Aston Martin has had relatively nowhere to go. I'll look at it again, as obviously we're on board with Cam Tizzle now. We've got a good battle going here. I just really want to see if I can make out what's happened here. Yeah, I think Fragley got a little bit too deep into the braking zone and locked up and kind of took the Aston with him. I don't think anything egregious from either of them, but I think Fragley really wanted that position, and he just kind of overshot it. At least that's what, from the very minimal look that I had, that's what it seemed to be. I could be wrong, and listen, I like being wrong. I learn more, but I think for what it's worth, it could have been done with a little bit more careful there. But Serzal now to the back end of Jabor, and I tell you what, Jabor, as we've got Johnny Damon in the pit lane making his stop. Jabor very much in the way of Serzal there. I think Serzal had some really good pace there going through Sector 3. It just didn't quite have the room to get around him, and I think Serzal's going to have to really send one here, as Jabor actually had quite a good run down the pit straight. This remains the battle for the second position, as Ayahuasca again's got the fastest lap with a 1:14 flat. Charlie Golf has second, got a 3-second penalty. Reimer has taken the lead, and with now 5.5-second gap. Although, remember, Reimer still has to take his mandatory pit stop. Cam Tizzle in third, down by about 4.5 tenths. Fragley in fourth, down by about half a second. King Pro player. Maybe start to see some of the graining taking place on the V-carb there, as these tires now 10 laps old. I would assume we might start to see another round of pit stops here for those who have taken the medium tires. King Pro Player, mind you, started this race on the hards. He has since taken his set of medium tires, so he doesn't have any other strategic obligations to be had, but I think he will need to make another stop here very soon. Those tires do not look comfortable to be on. Got about a tenth and a half between Serzol and Jabor exiting the final corner. I tell you what, that Haas really seems to be launching off the corner as well. Serzol was about 0.2 of a second away from him in towards turn 14. And, oh, big dive to the inside. Oh, and it's just not going to go. Oh, and he's been really hit from behind by Sepulveda. Goodness me, well, it was a big lockup there from Serzol, and that car, not to his fault, mind you, but with the lockup that he did have, and the back end came round, left no room there for Sepulveda. Such an unfortunate accident there from the McLaren, who just had really nothing of it. Just an innocent bystander, really, in that one. It's a shame. Serzol hasn't done anything wrong. Accidents happen, and unfortunately for Sepulveda, he's been caught up in it. He's side by side now with Johnny Damon, and that's a good-looking battle, this. Still wheel-to-wheel, looking to head in towards turn 7, and Serzol finally gets around him. So unfortunate for the McLaren team. It just continues to go wrong for him today. As it looks as if Sepulveda is going to be ceding position here, which is, again, so unfortunate. Oh, and a big slide from Owa. And, well, thankfully he's not hit anything, because that was almost bad. So Reimer still leads by 5.5 seconds, although what I will say is this. Reimer is not exactly putting more time back to Charlie Gulf. He's actually only improved as we got, who is that? Sepulveda appears to have clobbered the entry to the pit lane. He's since gathered it back up, but it continues to go wrong here. So Reimer has only put about 0.2 of a second back to Charlie Gulf in these recent 2 laps. Again, the rest of the grid, I think, immediately behind Reimer here on those hards. Yes, they are Gulf, Tizzle, and Fragley. Well, as I've said that, Reimer's since put an additional 0.3, but you never know. So we're past halfway in this one. Reimer, your leader. Still has to make a pit stop. He's +4, and here he goes. Reimer into the pit lane. Oh, I tell you what, really on the edge there on the way into the pit lane. That was slightly sketchy. Gets it back down. I think he's only going to lose about 5 positions here. I think he's going to come out ahead of Jabor, potentially. That's going to be close. Pit stop for Reimer, hard tires on. Charlie Gulf is your race leader, albeit with a 3-second time penalty to his name. And the pit lane as well, King Pro Player has come in, so Reimer will drop to 5th, potentially more. It's actually going to be in quite the battle here, along with Johnny Damon, who's going to get to the inside of Merck. And Johnny Damon up to the 6th position now. Charlie Gulf now your leader, albeit a 3-second penalty to go with it. Cam Tizzle in 2nd, currently on pace to inherit the race win. Should he not pick up any 3-second penalties of his own, or should he stay also within 3 seconds of the car ahead? Fragley, 0.5 second as well. Top 3 here. Separated by about 1.5 seconds, roughly. Yeah, 1.3. Good guess. Cam Tizzle now 3.5. Mind you as well, these hard tires getting up there in age as well. We still got over 10 laps to go. I think these guys in the hards might need to stop another time. Again, that safety car was well early in the race. You know, so I'm kind of thinking some of these guys are going to need to stop a second time, and I think they're going to have to stop relatively soon. I think it's maybe... Do they go to another set of mediums? It'd be a difficult ask. They could stop now and put on another set of hards and be okay, or, you know, maybe wait 2 more laps, put the mediums on. It depends on what the tires can do. I mean, we don't know the deltas off the top of my head. There was a time, realistically, where I would actually go into a Grand Prix session and learn all these things. I think it's more interesting not knowing. Ayahuasca to the inside. Didn't quite have the available real estate there to get around Serzol, although he still might. Tell you what, wheel to wheel now through 3. This is a tight spot to be going wheel to wheel in. Both cars naturally want to push to the outside of the circuit, and now still side by side, wheel to wheel through turn 4. Serzol around the outside, still trying to hold on. Does he outbrake into 5? He's trying it. Oh, and they make contact. still trying for it, and Ayahuasca eventually gets ahead. I think Serzal may have let him have that with the contact. Great battle there for the 7th position. Tell you what, Ayahuasca, tell you what, when they made this guy, they forgot to install the quit. A little bit deep into the braking zone there for Jabbour, and Reimer had a tough time getting the tires activated as well, but he will eventually get to the inside there and get to the 4th position. Johnny Damon could have a look at him here very shortly, as it looks as if Cam Tizzle, as Fragley's left the session from the 2nd spot. Cam Tizzle into the pit lane. It's going to be a set of medium tires for him. Can I please see if maybe I have Fragley added? I don't think I do, honestly. Such a shame. This is a public service announcement to anyone involved in these races. Get me a friend request so I can get you back in a lobby when this sort of thing happens, because for the time being, I can't do that. Dreadfully apologizes, but that's about all I can do, is look and see, and if you haven't, then you haven't. Charlie Golf now leads as well. Fragley's car is obviously, as you can tell, invisible. Very sudden disconnection from Fragley. He's not typically a driver known to have disconnect issues. I'm thinking maybe did he have a power outage or something potentially, because he hasn't even gone back into the Discord to ping for invites yet. As it looks, he has rejoined. That's good news. Okay. So, it's Charlie Golf's entering the pit lane, so I guess Fragley didn't lose the lead after all. But, however, Fragley's AI actually has chosen not to stop. Medium tires going on here for the Aston Martin of Charlie Golf. So I was correct saying that they were going to need to stop again. That's what they've done. Johnny Damon half a second behind Reimer. Damon has stopped 3 laps earlier than Reimer. I think Damon's going to be all right on tires. I don't think he should worry. Well, 16 laps is possible on these hards. As we see Serzal's doing that sort of thing right now, as well as Fragley for that matter. I think he'll be okay. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, and it definitely won't be quick. But, you know, up through 7 and 8 now. I'll tell you what, Serzal didn't get a good getaway there. Cam Tizzle might be able to have something up through the hill. No, not quite. Well, potentially with DRS, tell you what, this one might get a little bit close here. Tizzle to the inside, looking for King Pro late on the brakes, and he has tapped Serzal out of position, unfortunately. King Pro's got to give that back, realistically. I think just, and Charlie Golf's going to get to the inside of Serzal now. This becomes difficult now for King Pro player, because I think realistically King Pro's got to give that spot back, having bumped him out of the way. Of course, it's not on purpose. He just really kind of overshot the braking zone, made his way to the inside, and did hit him. But now Serzal's got another driver in the way. As I tell you what, King Pro doesn't appear to be attempting to cede this position to Serzal. I think he's going to try to roll with it here, which is quite risky. I mean, if I was Serzal, I think I would definitely be reporting that. Not even that King Pro player's done something egregiously wrong, but he's bumped him out of the way and he's taken the position. And now he's got an extra one as well, having now overtaken Charlie Golf. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. That's okay. 7/10 of a second between Reimer and Damon. At the line, this time will be 10 laps to go. And I tell you what, both these guys relatively even on tires. I'll say Damon's will go away quicker first, but Damon will also have the privilege of DRS for the time being. Although Reimer, I tell you what, it's looking quite quick. I'd be a little surprised if Damon was able to hold on to the DRS that he does have. And King Pro player now has actually picked up a 3-second penalty for track limits violations. Johnny Damon, I thought, was going to maybe have a look there. Didn't quite. Charlie Golf now to the left side of King Pro, and he'll make that spot happen. Serzal on the 18-lap-old hard tires. His teammate of Fragley has recently stopped. He's on the mediums. 10 laps to go here. Tell you what, for what it's worth, Johnny Damon has gotten it back about 7/10 of a second on this lap. Started the lap about 0.78 behind Reimer. Is now about 5.6. Maybe that Haas is better in the straight line. That's kind of what it seems. Yeah, that's absolutely what it seems for the time being. Reimer's car looks absolutely glued to the ground. And Johnny Damon's making up a lot of time in the straight line, but anytime you're getting through a medium-speed corner, Reimer is starting to actually pull away, as I believe Cam Tizzle's gotten around Ayahuasca. Hey, Ayahuasca back into the picture here. That's really good to see. As we have a yellow flag in turn 3. That's the Ferrari of Hemphead, I believe, having a small spin. Spin that left. Johnny Damon down the pit straight. Gaining. He's not going to get it. Not this time. Charlie Golf back to the inside of Ayahuasca. With DRS there. Ayahuasca did actually have DRS, I believe, up to Cam Tizzle. But to no avail for him. 3.5 of a second now. I tell you what, that Alpine, for whatever reason, might be slightly fading here. I mean, I say this quite a lot about Reimer. He is a driver that does, oftentimes sacrifice straight line speed for better handling. That is true, but this is a noticeable difference. I really think either Johnny Damon is really hooked up right about now, or that car is just quicker, actually, in the dead straight. I'll open the telemetry, actually. I'm interested to see. We'll have this open for the time being. I'm really interested in just what the top speed is as they make their way into the braking zone. As again, because now Reimer's starting to pull away through that corner coming out of turn 12 and now down the hill. The car does look quicker, that Alpine, but again, as now we get into the straight line, albeit DRS activated as well. Reimer about 300. I tell you what, visibly, Johnny Damon's about 20 kilos faster. Of course, DRS is helpful as well, as Charlie Golf's going to get to the inside of Cam Tizzle. That'll be for the third spot, albeit temporarily, but third spot nonetheless. Curveball into the pit lane now. Didn't quite expect that to happen. He's getting rid of his tenor as well. Hards to softs for the Ferrari. Good battle still for this third position. Charlie Golf has that 3-second penalty. He's not intending to lay down and give it over to Cam Tizzle. He's really going to fight here. DRS will be activated for the Williams as they make their way atop the hill. Exiting 7 and 8. Over the crest. Both cars look very settled going over that. I remember in the older F1 games, remember 20 and 21 were the ones I majoritarily played. It was really one of those things like you had to hold your breath going over the top of that hill. Now you can do it pretty much flat, it seems. Even on these guys being on, used medium tires, that looked very comfortable, having gone over the top of the hill. Down the pit straight they go. 8.5 of a second for Johnny Damon. He is gaining, but I tell you what, I think the tire delta is starting to catch up with Johnny Damon here. He's lost about 1/10 and a half, 2/10 in the previous lap. Again, tire age, Damon is 3 laps older than Reimer, which isn't a lot. But I tell you what, when you're in a head-to-head battle like this, everything counts, and I think that's exactly why. Oh, big slide for Damon on the back end, getting on the throttle. And he lost about 0.3 of a second in just that. Still working. I tell you what, this would be a good result for Damon if he holds on. He's on the one-stopper as well. +5. That'd be a good day for him. It really would. Even if Reimer takes the win here, that is a very respectable day there for Johnny Damon, having not qualified his best either. And, of course, still the battle for the third spot. 0.5 second between Tizzle and Golf. Ayahuasca now appears to have fallen behind 4.5 seconds behind the top two. Pair of the Saubers in close quarters with each other. Tell you what, I'm not going to say I expected more, but it seems like everything else got in the way of the Saubers today, realistically. We had, I believe it was Fragley, had that incident with Charlie Golf, albeit accidental. Getting late on the brakes there, and then the contact, and as well as, I believe it was even Serzal having been bumped out of position by King Pro. Ayahuasca's actually into the pit lane. It'll be soft for him. And they are going to swap positions here. Fragley up to the 6th spot. Damon is now outside of DRS range on Reimer. Tizzle's still about 4.5 tenths behind. Might be a battle here between Jabor and Merck heading in towards turn 1. We'll check back with them in a little bit. It is still 5/10 of a second between these two for the third position. And Tizzle's doing really well as Golf. I mean, let's give it to Golf here. He's not prepared to let Cam Tizzle have this position. He is really racing for it now. You know, will he be able to, you know, get Cam Tizzle frustrated enough to get himself into a mistake? And then potentially, you know, one of those things where Cam Tizzle maybe has a slide and loses about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, and Golf is, you know, on the cusp of being able to stay ahead of the delta with the penalty. I tell you what, Cam Tizzle lost about 2/10 that lap. That's what it seemed like initially. Of course, down the pit straight they go, and DRS well activated here. This one could be... I tell you what, I expected a better run there from Tizzle. Maybe he's saving up his energy. They're both relatively similar. I mean, Cam Tizzle 67, that's 35 for Golf, but for what it's worth, he doesn't appear to be using it much either. As we get a yellow flag, top of the hill exiting turn 12, that's Agnote. That car is off the track, as it appears. Has he hit anything? No. He will be overtaken by his teammate here. Still 6/10. Reimer's put about 1.5 seconds back to Damon. Look back at the battle between Merck and Jabor. This battle for the 8th spot, 7.5 tenths the gap between them. And if we look at the tires once more, Jabor on actually 6-lap-old soft tires. Merck on the 9-lap-old medium tires. That one could get interesting right quickly, especially Ayahuasca into this mix now. He could get himself up a couple of positions. I tell you what, Ayahuasca, one of the best drivers I've seen, personally. I say that genuinely. He is a very talented driver. This was like the first time today that I've watched an Ayahuasca race where he didn't look almost robotic in how he did as curveballs off the track. Where Ayahuasca, like, made mistakes today. And that's something you don't say very often. That Ayahuasca has genuinely made mistakes that has prevented him from winning this Grand Prix. To the inside of Merck, he'll have that spot relatively easily, albeit on the fresh softs as well. Now 3/10 behind Jabor. But again, anytime you see this guy race, and you just know it's going to be a masterclass from him. Whether he wins or... Let me tell you something, even if he doesn't win, as he'll get to the inside of Jabor, I mean, textbook stuff, even just that, right? But this is one of the few times I've genuinely watched him and thought, he didn't do the best job today. I mean, he made mistakes. It is what it is, right? It happens. But it doesn't usually happen to him, and that's what makes that weird to talk about. It really does. 7.5 tenths of a second, as we've got a yellow flag. That, I believe, is Sepulveda, who appears to have... And I tell you what, unfortunate for Sepulveda as well, who got caught up in the sliding Sauber. You know, was just... had the lockup on the back end going through the corner. And that car really... Oh, it was a big slide there for Cam Tizzle, and that might even take it. Oh, this is what I was talking about. I told you, ring the bell, because this is what's happening. Potentially, does Cam Tizzle get frustrated and gets into a slide, makes a mistake, and now potentially Charlie Golf might actually be able to maybe pull ahead and get himself in position for this podium, because now those tires on that Williams are surely going to be quite warm, and have now taken a bit of wear as well, having slid as far as he did. Charlie Golf could realistically walk away with this podium. He could. It's possible. But I was just saying, Sepulveda, having gotten into the mix-up with the Sauber, that pretty much took him out of contention, unfortunately. Again, due to no fault of his own, or even to that of whichever Sauber it was that slid. Just happens. And unfortunately, he was caught up in it. Got a yellow flag. That's a Red Bull off the track. That's Agnote. It doesn't look like he's hit anything, but he's had a trip through the gravel. And around the outside now, Charlie Golf. Tell you what, he's going for it. This Aston's got some pace. And as well, for what it's worth, I think Cam Tizzle has made another mistake somewhere. Because he's now 3 seconds behind Johnny Damon. Charlie Golf, I think, is going to stay on the podium here. It didn't look possible. And I tell you what, the stars have happened to align here. As Ayahuasca to the inside of Serzal, he'll get the 7th position. But the stars have aligned for Charlie Golf to take this podium. Tell you what, you know, as I've said before, there is a good portion of the time where luck does beat skill, and I tell you what, Charlie Golf's he's a very talented driver. He has gotten slightly lucky just then, let's be real. And let's not forget as well, another driver who's been lucky today, as we've got, oh, and there's 3 seconds for Cam Tizzle. Well, that pretty much seals it then, doesn't it? Let's as well remember a couple of drivers that got into good positions today. Reimer up from 5th on the grid, up to 4th. He's done a phenomenal job. And on that, what appeared to initially have been an unorthodox strategy, having gone medium hard, it actually has worked quite well. And I think Reimer was kind of holding out for an additional safety car there, having gone medium hard, but he didn't get it, and for what it's worth, it worked very well. So, credit where it's due to him, but he's earned this win today, should he get it. Still half a lap left, anything can happen. Johnny Damon, he'll eventually get 2nd, assuming he doesn't get a penalty. And he's earned that as well. I mean, it was not a good qualifying session from Damon. He started 7th on the grid. You know, had a lot of heavy hitters ahead of him. And, I mean, once again, if you haven't paged Neil deGrasse Tyson yet, you might as well want to, because the stars aligned for Johnny Damon. He's got a good result here. As we get a yellow flag towards the back, that is one of the Ferraris getting out of the way. But Reimer, coming down the hill, final couple of corners. Tell you what, he's done a good job today. He's played the strategy immediately correctly, and Reimer's going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. Golf will finish in 3rd, as Damon will actually get 2nd. Of course, the penalty with Charlie Golf. And as well, the stars align for Cam Tizzle. Oh, Merck has binned it, going over the top of the hill. Exiting turn 9, that car is in the barrier on the inside. So unfortunate, as I tell you what, I thought we had a side-by-side battle going there. Maybe we do. Fragley is, tell you what, that looked like a rightly close battle there between Fragley and King Pro Player. But Reimer, your winner today. Johnny Damon 2nd, Golf in 3rd. Cam Tizzle 4th, Fragley 5th. King Pro Player will finish 6th, albeit behind Fragley by less than 1/10 of a second. Ayahuasca 7th, Serzal 8th, Jabor 9th, 10th. Merck and Curveball have both retired, and I think Sepulveda is going to be our last finisher here. But Reimer, what a race it's been for him. We'll be sure to see you all next week. We head to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, for another very fun edition of the CCRL Wednesday tier. For Hotspot, it has been a pleasure joining you once again. I'll leave the stream going because I got to see the results, but we'll see you next time.